Oh, happy Friday. I think we live. I'm gonna get everybody in the room, man. Hold up. First things first. What's up with it, Mo? What's up with it, Coop?
What up, fam?
There we go. There we are. I think we in here now. Yes. Welcoming everybody into the room to another episode of According to Hip Hop Live. And yeah, tonight, man, we're gonna be talking about the top 10 hip hop albums of 2020, man. It's been a real interesting year, bro. Like outside of everything that's happening in the world, this has been a real sneaky good year for hip hop.
It's been a sneaky great year, actually. I mean, I think it's better than 2018. And 2012 is the last year that comes to mind where I think I just saw a slew of just quality projects come from so many different areas, major, indie, grimy,
Yeah,
pop. Just ran the gamut.
I think this year is really setting the tone for I guess what's coming in hip hop, and a lot of the heavy hitters in hip hop like Drake, Kendrick, Cole, even Cardi, Migos, those guys they didn't come out with records this year, and it really seems like this has been the year for people who just been on the grind, almost like an independent type of rush. And we're seeing Griselda just dropping everything, and yeah, man, it's just some real hardcore hip hop with a lot of diversity, and it's not being carried by the superstars, which is interesting. And that's not something we've seen in previous years. So I mean, we were talking about shit Ti and Benny's album last week. I got a chance to actually listen to Ti's album a little bit more this week, man. It's 20 records, so it was a lot to take in, and he kind of covered all bases, man. And you know what? And I was telling somebody today that towards the end, I forgot I was even listening to a Ti album. Hello?
No, I'm here. I'm just letting. I was just letting you finish. You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
I
no,
never
no.
know. No, I just never know which Atlanta rapper you're gonna disrespect.
Oh
Which
no, no,
you
no,
just
I'm not. No
no, I
disrespect,
know.
man.
You know when you be disrespecting Andre, I just be interrupting you. I figure I'd let you at least like finish the
Hold on, man.
disrespect.
I don't disrespect Andre. Andre's one of my favorite rappers, period, man. But yeah, with the Ti joint, man, I loved it. It was when you kind of pausing a little bit. I didn't know if you were just chilling back or you just pausing the. Okay, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, no. Is the connection bad? I mean,
it was kind of skipping a little bit, but I think you in there. But yeah, man,
okay.
I like the album. I think that at one point, like I said, it started off like real trappish, and then it kind of went all the way over into very conscious, I guess, for lack of a better term. I mean, we got to the point where Tamika Mallory was doing poetry, doing spoken word, and then it got into the Killer Mike record, and it just had a little bit of everything, which was cool.
I mean, I think Ti's been making albums like that for a while, don't you? I think he started kind of. This felt kind of. I think King he switched up his formula a little bit in terms of his level of diversity and depth as an artist. And I think ever since then, most of the albums have been crafted in that vein. They're not as good as King. Nothing he's made since King has been as good as King, in my opinion. He's
I,
made some stuff that's been within the stratosphere of, but not as good. But this is a kind of a King-like album in the sense that it's like it's got a lot of different things. He's a very versatile MC, Mike. So
yeah, he
it's
is.
like really what he is doing on this album. I don't know if he's making it a point to do more conscious stuff because of the times of what's going on. He's really just letting you know and reminding you of his really skill level and versatility as an MC. This is somebody that made Live in the Sky and what you know about that on the same album, you know?
Yeah, yeah, he's really showing a lot of versatility on this album too, because it's kind of like it's more of a collaborative effort in many ways too, because it's like he's kind of matching the color of whoever he's on the song with, because like even the song with Snoop, it has that vein in it, and song with Young Thug, song with Lil Baby. But what I really like, man, I feel like he missed an opportunity. I really like the record that he made with his son, Damani. Like I thought it was so dope to actually hear, a father and son collaboration on a song like that. It felt like that was like in my opinion, that was like the realest moment on the album. It was, father and son connecting through rhymes. And he was sitting here talking about his path versus his path. And the fact that, his son wanted to hold his own. And I love the fact that they sound nothing alike. too. I think that's cool too. The fact that they sound like two totally different rappers. Because a lot of times in those situations, the when you have a musical family, you can hear the influence of the parent in the child.
No, I can still hear some cadence. Like I can hear some of the fluidity with which he rap is definitely like, yeah, he wouldn't like straight up say he gets it from his dad, but he's fluid on the mic like his dad is. That's one of his dad's best attributes as a Southern MC is that Tip's always been more fluid on the mic than somebody like Killer Mike or Jeezy or Troy, Sean Paul. A lot of his contemporaries he came up with down here, even though they blew before he did. Part of what made him the bigger star, made him have staying power, was the fluidity with which he rhymed. And his son has some of that, so he may not sound like him, but you can start to see some inherent traits, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he's very Andre influenced too. But yeah, like you said, you can hear the traits in there, and there's no way you can't be influenced by your father. Your father's
say when you're from down here, like it's impossible not to have some sort of Andre, Big Boy, Outcast, Dungeon Family influence. They're the blueprint. So, and he's the blueprint as an MC. So he is like the canvas which most MCs down here draw inspiration from initially. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into the.
And I think it's the best song on the album, like you do. That and I forget what Hit Dog Hollow in Tokyo.
Yeah. I think just about everybody's saying that. Everybody kind of has like the same opinions on what's the best record on that album.
Yeah. It didn't make the list that we're about to talk about, but I think that is because of the influx of guest appearances and the fact that it just came out. We don't know how it's going to hold.
Right. Well, we got everybody checking in the group. HG Gala says Andre 3 Stacks, yeah. Jay, shout out to Jay. He got Pray for Paris #1, Burden of Proof #2.
Okay, Jay, here we go.
Fake Tag #3, The Liz #4, King's Disease 5, Alfredo 6. Wilfred Gates says King's Disease, Nas, T.I. the Libra. We're gonna get in this top 10, man. All right, well I'm gonna go ahead and give the floor to you, man. Where you got number 10? What you got at number 10?
Can I say something right quick before we start the list right quick?
Yeah, go for
it. I know it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I just wanted to let everybody know breast cancer is very, very real. It really affects families. 4 years ago today, I lost my cousin, who was really more like my big sister to me, to breast cancer. Breast cancer and just cancer awareness was something that I was always aware of and donated to. But when I lost my cousin, who was only 10 years my senior, she died when she was 45, it really, really hit close to home. Like, there are a lot of people that are struggling with this. And so, breast cancer is an issue for Black women in our community. And so I just wanted to take a moment to, say rest in peace to my cousin, but also to tell everybody breast cancer is real. The way it affects families is real. And we as a Black community need to be more heightened in our awareness about it, just in general. And I've been donating all month, but, I need to be getting into more than donating, truthfully. And I'm taking the steps forward to do that as well. So.
Well said. Same here, man. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah. So, number 10.
Number 10.
You reading or I'm reading?
Oh, Who Made the Sunshine? Number 10.
Yeah. Okay.
Westside Gun, Who Made the Sunshine? Number 10 album of the year 2020. Go ahead. Say what you got to say about this album.
This album like made my list on the back end because of all the projects that I listened to that I guess were in the realm of it in terms of how I would rank it. I found it to be the most innovative. When you really go listen to the record, it's a really innovative record. It's really more of a chess move record where he's putting pieces together on the board. And I told you, Mike, when we first reviewed it, I was like, I don't even know how rap-oriented this album is. It feels fashion centered. It feels artistry centered. It feels production centered. It feels guest artist centered. It feels like almost he intentionally tried to deflect himself off of the album and make the overall art of the album the vision. And so the artistic merit on that is extremely high. and it's pretty ballsy for somebody making their record label debut, who was released a project earlier this year that most people consider to be the best project this year.
Yeah.
And also, too, when I go back and listen to some of the records really stick to your ribs. I know you love 98 Sabres.
98 Sabres is crazy.
98 Sabres is crazy. All Praises with Boldy and Kiss. That's a classic, actually, Mike. That was the record when I heard Westside Just on the Hook. I'm like, that's when I went back and told you last week. He specifically has been working on his hook game, and that's where I heard it kind of come full circle because he was on the Lox album. He's been doing hooks for people all year and doing hooks for Griselda all year, but that was the one where I was like, oh no, he done found his groove with it too, and that track is perfect. Butcher and the Blade, like there are joints on there too, and the overall artistic vision, I thought it deserved like the 10th slot.
Okay.
There are some albums like T.I.'s album that just dropped, or we can go to the Liz by Armani. We can go to Lil Baby's album. All of those albums were like in the same realm to me of that, but just kind of barely missed the cut.
Okay. Robert Stewart says 2020 is the modern day golden age for hip hop. Thrax Wild says that they sleeping on KS. They sleeping on Crit too. We got nowadays artists coming so fast, it's harder to keep up. All these artists keep coming out every week. Gary Ramone says, let's see where Lil Baby's album ranks. While I personally think Conway, Freddie Gibbs, and Benny had much better albums, Lil Baby had the most popular album to me.
Okay, so can I address something right quick?
Go ahead.
Lil Baby's album was in my top 10 most of this year, but it has not held up as well in my estimation. A lot of it is because of the length of the album to me, too. I feel like that project was too long and he could have taken some tracks out. I do enjoy the project. If I was probably ranking it, it would probably be 11th or 12th on my list. But we're going to get to number 9, and number 9 has number 9 staying power is part of the reason why I pushed Lil Baby back out of the top 10, because number 9's Gunna with Wanna.
Yeah.
And I felt like Wanna was better produced. I felt like the song sequence and track selection was better, and I just feel like it rides better. It's more of an enjoyable listen. I've said this on multiple times. I find Lil Baby to be a much better MC than Gunna. Not much better, but he's better than Gunna as an MC to me. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely grown and developed, especially this year. But it just didn't translate to the album sticking for the length of time. I found myself skipping around for the songs that I like on there too much, where sometimes it's like I just play Gunna stuff, and it's like, well, if nothing else, I can just ride.
Andre said he just got to the room. He want to know what number 10 was. Number 10 was Westside Gunn, Who Made the Sunshine. And number 9, we got Gunna with Wanna.
Yeah.
Number 8, Black Thought.
It is Black Thought, and I'm going to tell you why, and it's the same reason that I told you last week. When I went back and listened to it again this week, it's like, oh, well, I'm not enjoying it like I should because I've just been listening to him for too long. Like, I try to look at albums, too, especially when we're rating them, and it's like, how is it going to sound like to somebody, like, if they were to hear him for the first time? If this was your first time hearing Black Thought, like, your mind was probably blown.
Right. I mean, the standards are so high with Black Thought. It's like, I mean, you did say that you liked Volume 3 more than 2 and 1, right?
Combined.
Oh, man, you I like 2. I like 2.
I'm about to say the only thing even noteworthy on 1 to me is Making of a Murderer, which came out like 2 years before Volume 1 came out. I've been recycled Making of a Murderer with Styles. You remember the joint? Like,
yeah.
That's one of the best verses of Thought's career, and that's saying a lot.
That's saying a whole lot.
That's saying a whole lot. That's one of his 5 to 10 best verses, probably. And Volume 2 was solid, but it didn't really stick to my ribs, really. Like, this is more like, okay, I can listen to joints on here, and it's Thought doing his thing. It's like me, I'm nitpicking about stuff, but I understand my perspective is different. I've been listening to dude since I was like 12.
Andre says 2 was better, in my opinion. Jay says, y'all letting me down. The Liz can't miss the cut. I know Jay loves the Liz. I was listening to the Liz the other day, man.
Everything ahead of the Liz just has either better content or production. And that's really just the reason at the end of the day. I'm not knocking Armani at all. I think she made one of the 15 best albums this year. It's the best solo debut I've heard from a female in a long time.
Yeah.
It's not it's not knocking her hustle at all for her not to make the top 10. I mean, we've been giving her plenty of run, Mike.
Yeah, man. I love it, man.
Yeah,
I was
played
really
Ginger
impressed.
Rothstein today. Like I told you, she's on my 2020 playlist. So Yum Yum, Ginger Rothstein, Drillerama. What's the first single? Simply Done, Primo.
Yeah, Simply Done is hard. You know what? I think that she might have, I mean, she has one of the more surprising albums of 2020 for me. The next album that we got on the countdown was really, really surprising too. The Lox Living Off of Experience is number 7. That was
was
shockingly really good.
That was the surprise of the year to me because it's like I don't know how other people feel about the Lox. For me, it's one of those. I love them, like all three of them. I love them together. I love them when if I see any of them on a record, I'm checking the record. How about that? That's how I feel about them.
Right.
Like even if it's Chic on a record, like I know a lot of people don't think Chic is where like Kiss and Styles are. Like first of all, that's not fair because like Kiss and Styles are like top 25 in C's all time. Like,
right.
But they deserve that kind of respect. Like lyrically, like when they do a project, it's not about if lyrically it's going to be strong. It's about if the songs are going to be good. It's about if the structure is going to be right. It's about if the production is going to be well put together and not just feel kind of thrown a piece together. This was the best album of their career. I think I think literally if they would have released this any year in the last 10 years, except for this year, I think they would have gotten album of the year consideration.
If they would have released this last year, because last year was more of a bare year.
Mike, if they would have released this last year, it would have been album of the year.
Yeah. I think the best albums that came out last year, the best albums that came out in 2019, off the top of my head, I'm gonna say The Game, Born to Rap, and I'm gonna say Rhapsody. Eve. Yeah.
This is slightly better than Eve. Well, no, this is better than Eve because the beats
are better. Jay says that the Liz is better than the Lox album. Jay, you must think that the Liz is better than Eve too.
No. Hold on, Jay. You're going too far. Like Armani, and she's dope, and I like her. I'll tell you, the Lox would probably even like her, and she's got a lot of room to grow. Like she's not in the Lox league lyrically yet.
Yeah.
And beat and production wise, she did something that was comparable to what they did, and you can even say the production is better on the list.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're going crazy.
They were rapping. They were rapping like themselves. Because, the thing...
They were rapping, thank you, like when they rap like themselves, there aren't too many... I mean...
And you know what was impressive about that album, too, not to cut you off, is the fact that they sound, to me, as good as ever, if not better than ever. And to be this long in the game. And no disrespect, it was like, with the DMX collaboration, it was a clear difference. Or like, okay, well, this might be what they should be sounding like, where this is where they really sound like. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought up that record because, we call this the spade. The weak spot of that record is DMX's verse. Not even the hook. He's nice on the hook.
Yeah.
The hook's great. But on the verse, it came up short. And it really makes you think, like, here's how great they are.
Mm-hmm.
He was number one at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And they were coming up behind him and up under him, and Jay and Nas looking up to those guys. And when you listen to it now, they're so great that lyrically they carried X on the record.
They did.
Like the record was still hard, even though he didn't come with it, because they came with it.
They sound like they're in their prime on this record, and that's what's impressive.
I'm being honest with you, like I love the formula of this album. Like, and here's part of what I'm saying. Okay, so Jay, I'm going to submit something to you. Like, they found something with this album that they've probably known for a long time that they just really started really getting into. Styles starts the song.
Mm-hmm.
Kid finishes the song in the middle. Because when they do that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you an example of every time when they do that, it's crazy. The best album off We Are the Streets is probably Breathe Easy.
You were cutting off a little for a second. I think you said they got their formula when Styles starts it off, Chic is in the middle, and Jada closes the record. Okay. Yeah, I
And
mean,
and there's a lot of that on this album, and because of that, it keeps your attention. Chic is a nice surprise on this album. It's
oh yeah,
like they didn't out rap Chic on this album. If you ever thought Chic was the weak link, it's not on this album. Like,
yeah.
no,
I mean,
like
it's one more thing that I got to say about that album too, man. It's the fact that I think that the Lock's strength is kind of what people deem as somewhat their weakness too. Like they're so strong solo that it underwhelms people normally when they all come together and make an album. You know what I mean?
well,
And
that's what I mean. Okay,
yeah,
so
and this time
that's
they
because
lived up to all of it.
how about this? How about this? That's because most of their albums, you can hear the records, and you're like, that record was for Kiss, but Styles and Chic jumped on it. Oh, that record was for Styles,
Yeah.
but Chic and Kiss jumped on it. That's not that beat. That was for Chic, but Kiss is on. And so on this album, it's really the first album that sounds like a Locks album.
Yeah.
It, Mike?
They all sound comfortable on these records, and they didn't just make one dimensional stuff either. And I think we were saying this, you know, and influences can come from anywhere, right? I think that the Locks see what Griselda and these guys are doing, and were influenced by that, and they were like, "Shit, we
They
can."
should be. Mike.
Yeah.
Mike. Okay. But like they're about the same age as these guys. That's what I'm saying. Griselda's not 24, dude. Like they're about the same age. So they're watching these dudes. Like they've been in the game eons longer than these guys. They're watching the meteoric rise of these guys hustling how they did it. And it's like, hold on, those dudes were watching us. Matter of fact, that sounds like us.
Yeah. Let's jump in.
Get back to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Can't nobody call for harm or foul on it.
Yeah.
Like, where you think the inspiration for what Griselda's doing?
Good music is good music.
Like they'll tell you, the Locks, Dipset, Mobb Deep, Big, Jay. Like they'll tell you.
Wilford Gates says that, not to interrupt you, man, I want to get some of the comments. Wilford Gates says King's Disease, the best album he's heard in a long time.
We're going to address that because I want to address all like the Nas stands, because like a true Nas fans need to address the rest of y'all out here standing. No. We're going to.
Jay says that We Are the Streets is still the Locks' best album.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Nick. It's a very inconsistent album.
Yeah, man, I like this one better, man. It was very consistent. Like I said, I didn't expect anything from this album, really. And as soon as it came on with a power punch, and then I was like, "Oh man, this fits." Yeah. And then it kept going.
It kept going. First 5 songs, Mike, like all of those are like, yeah. And then they forgot the joint with Westside and Benny, like they're like I said, Mike, it would have been album of the year last year. That's how great this. How about this? I don't think there's that much of a difference. I don't think. It could be 5 or 6 too. That's how good it is. Like the next 2 albums we're about to talk about aren't really better necessarily. I just have them ranked higher for certain reasons.
What you got number 6?
Price of Tea in China by Boldy James.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Talk about that Price of Tea in China, man. And the year that Alchemist is having too, by the way.
Well, I mean, I think we need to talk about a couple of things. Boldy right now might be the most underrated MC in the game. I think he's the most underrated MC that I'm hearing right now, because I'm not hearing enough people talking about how talented he is. I'm hearing people talk about what he's talking about. And it's like, no. Like, hear the talent. Hear the talent. And this is what I mean. It's like the Locks album is better lyrically, but it's not better beat-wise, because Alchemist, might be, how about this?
I think the Price of Tea in China is better than Living Off of Experience, and that's saying a lot.
I do too, but I think a lot of it has to do with, it's like, shoot, Mike, A Price of Tea in China makes you question if Alfredo is even Alchemist's best production job this year.
Yeah. And you was talking about Hit Boy was producer of the year.
No, Mike. So I'm going to cover that right quick too. First of all, I owe Alchemist an apology. If I do Alchemist, I will walk up to him and apologize personally, because, I mean, when I listen to Benny's album, we're just going to go ahead and jump on. Benny's album's not anywhere on this list. Jay, like the fact that you have Benny's album at number 2. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, you said nothing about Conway is totally crazy, because when I listened to Benny, I was like, you want to know what really happened? Is that Hit Boy ran out of gas a little bit and gave a lot of joints that Benny could have got off on to Nas. Blue Bands, 27 Summers, Spicy. Uh, yeah, a lot of those records like Benny would have got off on actually, and he just didn't have the gasoline by the time Benny came around, and it hurt Benny's projects. Like like Mike. I
Whose
mean, it's been a
decision was
long
that?
time.
I
I mean,
wonder.
it's literally been no. The RZA's the last person I think produced albums like
Right.
whole albums where you're like where it's like no, those are two of the 10 best albums this year, and one guy did the production. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Kanye did it. We can't front on Kanye. Oh, and
No,
by the
no,
way, by the way,
I'm talking about when you actually do stuff by yourself, Mike. Whatever.
he did Daytona. Come on now. You don't think Kanye did Daytona? Stop it.
I
Stop.
said one. He did two. He did Alfredo and Price of Tea in
Right,
China
right,
this
right.
year by himself. That's why I
That's
said
true.
two.
Speaking of Kanye, I
Oh,
think I was just getting some news
Lord.
that he's gonna be producing a whole 2 Chainz album.
I'm not totally excited about
Not
that.
excited
Okay.
about that? Okay. Well, speaking of non-excitement, since we're at the halfway point, which one do you think is what album of 2020 do you think is the most disappointing album of the year? I know we didn't talk about this in the warm up.
I'm about to say, I probably know who you're going to say. Like, hold on, I want to finish with Boldy right quick. Like, Boldy's dope because Boldy really does. Like, on one of the tracks, he's like, I'm in a sales meeting. Boldy talks like everything he's doing is a sales meeting. He talks like a businessman.
Yeah.
And he talks like a businessman. He feels like a businessman. He's cold and ruthless like that. And so when he gets out of that mode, but in that thought process on stuff like Surf and Turf with Vince Staples, he's brilliant. Surf and Turf is one of the 10 best rap songs this year. And that's it. That's why it's number 6. It is a better album than Living Off of Experience. But yeah.
I think so too.
But disappointing album this year, Jay Electronica is what came to mind initially.
That's what came to mind as well. All right, there's a lot of things to unpack about the Jay Electronica album being disappointing.
You can go there. I'm about to say. I mean, it depends on what you qualify as disappointing. It's like, was Eminem's album disappointing? Was a lot of guys dropped this year.
I think
like
at this point, we kind of expect. Yeah,
album.
Lil Wayne dropped too. I think at this point we kind of expect a disappointing album or a not so good album from Eminem or Lil Wayne. Many people thought that this Eminem album was much better than the previous one, though.
I thought it was a solid project, Mike. I told you I thought it was a solid project. I did.
It came out of nowhere. It was very wordy. You know what I'm saying? I think that the collaborations were cool.
Your shade is epic, dude. It was very wordy.
It was. I mean, it is what it is, man. But still, I would say Jay Electronica for the sense that we've been waiting over 10 years for this. And then on top of that, he shared the album with Jay-Z. And that was a double-edged sword because number one, it's like, all right, well, you do that, then this better be epic. And then number two, it's like, you went all these years without putting out a record and you still can't hold down an album on your own. That's what it looks like. I mean, that's not me talking. That's what the streets are saying. I just read the comment section, man, and I just make my opinions based on those things.
No. Can let me ask you something. Let me submit something to you. Isn't some of the disappointment wrapped in the fact that it's like some of the stuff he could have done something with it and he didn't do anything with it? It's not like this album is bad.
You know what's more disappointing, speaking of which? When they leaked the album that never came out and the shit was crazy. And it was like, what?
Mike, I did listen to it this week. I was like this all week. Like,
a part of me is like...
You over here rapping with Hov. Like, okay.
I'm like...
I'm gonna let you dudes have it. Like, I don't know what type of funny ass games y'all play.
I was like, yo, man, should we even consider that unreleased album that leaked in the top of 2020, or is it just disqualified because he didn't release it?
What album, Mike?
I'm talking about the leaked album.
I don't know what album you're talking about.
Okay, well, I guess it didn't exist.
Right, yeah.
Earl said, y'all sleeping on Cameron's Purple Haze.
No. he want to act like that energy is all righteous. It's like, no. Let's give that energy right back. It's like, okay, like you don't care about it, neither do we. All right, next.
But you know what? you wrote a pretty good review for the album, though.
No, he be acting like he too cool with it. Like, be cool with it, then, fam. Like, we ain't gonna push you. You ain't pushing yourself. Whatever.
You wrote a pretty good review for the album, though, but that was in the beginning of the year.
I gave him a lot of praise, and then he did absolutely nothing. Like, he's pretty much been doing the better part of 15 years.
Didn't shoot a video. Didn't shoot a video. And this album came out like right before quarantine, so there's a whole lot of stuff that could have been done where people would have been trapped in their houses really just soaking in this album. So yes. Not that it's a bad effort, but it was disappointing in the way that it was handled, executed, and Jay Electronica, a written testimony.
In real talk, like, and I kind of took up for him at first, but let's circle back around on it right quick. Jay, it shouldn't even be a discussion at Jay's point in his career of him bodying you on any verses if you're as great as people think that you are. Okay, let go. Like, it shouldn't have been a question. Like Ghost of Soulja Slim, like Jay shouldn't be like, oh, you're gonna let him, like, he can't. Okay.
Ghost of Soulja Slim is one of the best songs of the year. And
it is probably one of the best songs of the year because it's one of the best Jay verses you've heard in a very long time. All right.
Yeah. But we haven't really heard a Jay verse since King's Disease dropped. And that verse wasn't, anything to write home about. But Jatel Walter says, "Happy Friday to you, brothers. Happy Friday to you too."
Happy Friday, brother.
We're doing the top 10 hip hop albums of 2020. At number 10, we had Who Make the Sun Shine, Westside Gun. Number 9, we had Gunna with Wanna. Number 8, we had Black Thoughts Volume 3. It just dropped last week. Yep, Streams of Thought, Black Thought. What was it? Cain and Abel?
Cain and Abel. Yeah.
Cain and Abel, yep. After that, number 7, we had The Lox, Living Off Experience. Number 6, we had Boldy James, The Price of Tea in China. And at number 5, what we looking like? Royce the 5'9", The Allegory?
Correct.
All right.
The Allegory.
Yes.
I mean, no, saying this is a lot. I've been a fan of Royce pretty much since the first time I've heard him. I don't think he's ever lyrically been this great, stayed on meshes, chosen great production, and worked well with others like he is on this project. And then there's the actual message behind the whole project.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I was feeling like when I first heard The Allegory, it's like, I want to listen to this album in 6 months and enjoy it the way that I just did so I can put it in the top 5. And I've been listening to it again the last few weeks. And yeah, it's one of the best 5 rap albums this year. Like, he's going bananas on here. And I I want to say something about Royce. Royce isn't scared to do a song with anybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are. Royce is going to come. And so I love that a guy like this, that's that kind of MC and has that kind of hunger, chose those type of MCs to rap with him on this album. But he also did a good job of putting them and him in a good position to succeed beat-wise. That means he's thinking about it differently. It's a really impressive project because it's one of those projects, it's one of the longer projects this year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on song 11, 12, or 13. You're like, oh, hold on, wait. You're like, oh, this is one of them albums. But you're still enjoying the music. So you're like, no, cool.
Royce comes from the album era. And, and I felt like that with Booker Ryan. I know we posted on According to Hip Hop the other day.
You like Booker Ryan. You like Booker Ryan, don't you?
I like Booker Ryan. I think it was a good album. But
it was just solid.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hold on, Mike. Raekwon was on Instagram, telling Benny, solid project, as in salute, solid project.
Wow.
Method Man was on Instagram calling from a king to a god, doggy style in the purple tape. I just want Jay to have some context about how legends are speaking. Next.
Solid project. Wow, that's not really a compliment.
No. I mean, no, he was showing him love. That's fam. It is a solid project. I was riding the Sly Green today. There's joints on there. There's hitters. It's just people were expecting album of the year, and
Jay
but
said, "Y'all really don't have Benny on the list. Benny album is
no,
crazy. The
absolutely
more I
not.
listen,
We
the
will
more
not
I
have him.
realize that he's rapping his ass off. That hurt my night. LOL."
First of all, Jay, he's rapping, but he's not rapping his ass off the way Conway is. All right, so let's get that together. Beat wise, like I said, I mean, I'm not knocking him for that. Like when I was listening, I went back and listened to King's Disease, and not because I wanted to hear Nas, but because I wanted to sit back and think to myself, it's like, did Hit Boy give, or did Nas go through Hit Boy's file and pick all the best stuff, like pick all the gems out this year? Because when I listen to Benny's project, it's like, man, it's like, I think Nas took all the dope beats. And it's like, when the hell has Nas ever done that? It's like, I don't think Nas is the terrible beat picker that everybody else does, but it's like, when I listen to Benny's album, it's like, I literally be talking to myself, it's like, where's Alchemist? Where's Havoc? Where's Cream?
Because at the end of the day, Benny's done better, and as far as
I'm like,
like,
Mike, he's done better. He's done better. I mean,
yeah,
what did you say to me today? The one that put me on to him? I don't even remember the name of it. I just
it
remember
was
when I came across it.
it was on steroids, right?
Yeah, Butch
The butch,
Steroids. It's the
yeah,
mixtape joint with
the
like
butch on
DJ Drama or
steroids.
Bad or somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, the butch on steroids is crazy. Like, it
Yeah,
just,
all those plugs I met. All three of those projects are better than what he just released. I want
oh
Jay
yeah.
to go back and listen to those projects and tell me that Burden of Proof is better than Tana Talk, better than Plugs I Met, better than Butcher on Steroids. It's like, nah, I don't know about that. I
Earl
don't like
Moore
Sly Green
says,
though, Mike. I like Sly Green. That's the type of stuff I like ride to, but
Gary Mero, I'm sorry, said Pop Smoke. Where Pop Smoke at? Earl Moore said Conway had a feature on every
How
other
old is
song.
Fam? Because I think Pop Smoke's album resonated with the 25 and under crowd much
Yeah.
harder. I think it's a solid project. It's one of the 20 best albums this year, probably. It's somewhere between 17 to 20, fam.
Earl Moore said Conway had a feature on every other song.
On what?
Emoji. Well, I'm sure he's talking about From a King to a God. Brandon says, Earl, you sir are bugging.
Back up. Who
That's
said
a
that?
fucking
Who said that?
classic.
Who talking about Conway? No. Who talking about Conway? Back up. Let's
Yeah.
back Fam all the way up. Who said that?
Oh yeah. Who said that? Earl Moore said that. And Brandon said Earl's bugging.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Okay.
Andre says Conway's shit definitely better. I guess he's talking about better than Benny. Yes, Conway's album was definitely better than Benny's. Like I said, Benny's.
That's not a conversation.
Benny has hands.
Today.
Go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say Benny has hands down done better. Conway and Westside might have dropped their best efforts this year.
No, those are their best efforts.
And Benny had to come after that.
Yeah, they've been doing this longer than him. They're the ones that got this train started. They're hitting their stride. He may not have hit his stride yet, but what I am literally telling you, like, people don't understand what a fine line between some of this is. Like, here's how great From a King to a God is, Mike. How about this, Mike? I listened to Lemon today. If Raekwon or Ghostface is on Lemon, it's the album of the year instead of Pray for Paris, because that would make that record better than George Bondo, probably. Right. Like, Benny's not even in that conversation. Like, they're making albums like that where it's like, I'm going like by the verse, like it's that close. And it's like Benny's a couple years younger and he's a little bit behind them in terms of how long he's been doing this. They have projects like the project he just released that it's dope, but it's not a classic and it feels uneven at times. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Jay says Tana will when Tana Talk 4 drops, it's gonna show y'all he's the best. Earl says, I don't like albums with mad features.
He's not the best MC in his crew right now. So Jay, stop that.
Earl says
best MC in the game's in his crew right now.
Earl says, I don't like albums with mad features, but that's just me. I mean, you know what? Let's go through this. Because From a King to a God had Dej Loaf on it, had Method Man on it, and then he had the song by himself.
Hold on, what's Earl's album of the year?
What's your album of the year, Earl?
Watch this.
And while we're getting Earl's album of the year,
we won't be getting
Vlad Gray said Benny album ain't been out a month. And y'all just saying it's better. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we didn't put Benny in this top 10, because we want to give it some time to breathe, really. Andre says Westside and Conway are growing as MCs. And Gary says albums with little to no features are becoming extinct. I mean, it is what it is. I think that everybody is in a collaborative era right now. But yeah.
Okay, Mike, no. There's 14 tracks on From a King to a God.
Okay.
One interlude. 5 of the tracks, Conway's rapping by himself. Then there's one interlude, so that's 6. Then there's Fear of God with DJ Loaf singing, so there's no bars on that. So that's just him rapping on that. That's 7. So 7 of the 14 songs is really pretty much a solo mission. And when we're talking about guest appearances, I mean, listen to the guest appearances.
I think Forever Dropping Tears is just a hook too, isn't it?
Oh, you're right. Forever Dropping Tears is just hook too. So that's 8 records, man. Listen to the features. It's literally just the Griselda crew and Method Man. Earl, what are you talking about? And what's your album of the year?
Well, Havoc and Lloyd Banks is on there too.
Mike Havoc's on the hook and on the beat. I want Earl to tell us what his album of the year is.
Lloyd Banks is on the bars though.
I want Earl to tell us what his album of the year is.
All right. Well, we're going to number 4 now, right? Well, you got to tie. You got to tie at number 3. So you got King's Disease and Alfredo tied for that spot.
Let's address before we even get into Gibbs. Let's address all you Nas fans. It's like, if you all think Nas is the greatest MC of all time, y'all have to stop acting like every time that he makes a great album, it's like the best thing that you've heard in like 5 to 7 years. Like, you sound like a bunch of groupies. Like,
I can't believe you're saying this.
Because you don't understand. They're actually discrediting his legacy when they behave this way instead of just acting like, well, he's the greatest MC of all time and he just made an album of the year contending album. They're like, oh, I haven't heard anything like this in a while. It's like, no, it's not even the best album this year. It's an album of the year contender. He's still the greatest MC of all time. Why don't y'all start behaving like it? Like, he's made classics. Like, this isn't the first time he's made something where you're like, wow, oh my God, he's amazing. That's why you feel this way. Why don't you act like it? Like, I'll tell you this, like, and I'm not joking when I say this, and this should make everybody behave to be on here standing. Jay-Z fans have confidence, and they act like their guy is the best, and they talk like it. And when their guy swings and he misses, they're like, oh, but he's the best. Y'all be losing y'all shit when he does something great or when he does something bad. Like, shut up.
Nas can do no wrong, and I love Nas, and I can't believe you're saying this as a Nas fan that you are.
No, like Mike, I went up on the page and I almost got upset last week at how many guys were sitting up here. When you put up the 4th albums, when you put up Alfredo, From a King to a God, Pray for Paris, like, it wasn't when everybody else was like representing for the other albums. It was like representation. When people were talking about, it was like, oh my God, and this album was so revolutionary. It's like, hold on, dude. Like, come on, guys. Like, get your shit together.
Vlad Gray brought up a good point, though. He said you got to understand, outside is closed. You can't enjoy these projects how you should. We in the crib with headphones on debating if an album is a classic in a week's time. Relax.
Well, King's Disease is going to go down like a classic, but it's not the album of the year. Y'all are saying that because it's Nas. This is coming from a guy that thinks Nas is the greatest MC of all time. This is coming from a guy that thinks Nas made the best rap album ever made. And I'm telling you, all you dudes are going too far, and you women too. Like, get a grip.
You talk about the people in the post. The people in the chat ain't saying that.
No, I'm talking about Nas fans in general. I'm talking about general Nas fans out here standing about this album like it's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, how about this? Like, how about this, Mike? People are talking about this album like it's Good Kid, Mad City.
That's crazy. Andre said that Nas is my dude, but Alfredo's better. So, all right, you got.
I haven't had it.
You tell me
Alfredo was better. I wouldn't argue with you. It's the best album of Gibbs' career. It's a wonderful project. It's a classic.
Why do you have them tied? Why do you have King's Disease and Alfredo tied?
I think King's Disease is. I think at one point it's going to be the standard by which later rappers' albums are judged. For one, I see it being a potential like new standard setter. It's like. When guys are older and they make projects, it's gonna be like I wouldn't like King's Disease when Nas made King's Disease when he was 45. It's kind of like you know, I don't want to say like Jordan dropping 20 with the Wizards because that still feels a little disrespectful.
Jordan
know what? It
dropped
might
40 with the Wizards. It happened.
no, I mean 20 a game on average. How about this? Like it kind of like King's disease kind of feels like maybe if Tom Brady makes the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl this year, even if he doesn't win, it's like you watch him do something like that at that age, and you're like, oh, that's a good bar to set for everybody else to watch. That's what King's disease is. Alfredo is literally breathtaking because it's like if you've been following Gibbs or listening to Gibbs, it's like, okay, he sounds succinctly better as an MC and lyrically on this project as anywhere before. Like in the first 2-3 tracks you hear it, you're like, okay, hold on. Like he could rap really well. Like he sounds great. I told you, he sounds like young Scarface on that album.
Mhm.
Like that's not, like I don't just like say that like slightly. So it's like it's breathtaking, it's brilliant. Alchemist Strikes Again, albums number 3 or 4 and 6 are all produced by Alchemist. I think Price of Tia Shiner and or Alfredo might go down his seminal piece of works production wise.
Right.
Breathtaking moment. And I say all that to say, with all that praise and all the flowers I just gave Gibbs, Mike, Nas is so great that he's literally one of the few guys, all he has to do is make a great project. He's that kind of great when he hits his mark. And it's just, I don't know what else to tell you about King's disease. It's like, oh, well, Nas is great, and Nas is great on this album. And that pretty much is what does it.
Well, you think King's disease?
And I want to say this. I don't think King's disease has any weak songs. I think the worst song on there is the song they're promoting as the single right now, which is Replace Me. That's the worst record on there.
You know what? It is the single. I didn't get a chance to check out the video. I was going to ask you, though. You think King's disease is better than Life is Good?
Yes. Not a question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a question.
Speaking of Tom Brady, though, you heard they got Antonio Brown, right? The Bucs just signed Antonio Brown.
No, they didn't.
They did. They just signed that. I got that alert like an hour ago.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Antonio Brown.
Correct, yes.
They have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
I don't know.
They still have Cameron Brate. They still have Cameron Brate. O.J. Howard got injured. They have Rob Gronkowski. They have Ronald Jones. They have Leonard Fournette. They have LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to go get Megatron, Mike? And when I mean Megatron, I mean like actual Transformer Megatron, not Calvin Johnson, just Megatron. They're going to go fucking get Megatron.
Anything for Brady, man.
Mike, did they really just get Antonio Brown?
They did. They got a lot of guys.
Mike, if he stands up straight and is healthy, this is over.
Yeah. Vlad Gray says...
No. That's a deal closer because they're scoring 30 on everybody now at will.
We're going to see this week, man. Vlad...
I don't even want to... What's album number 2?
We're at album number 2. I'm going to go to some of the comments, man. Vlad Gray said, tell New York to take their Timbs off. Nas is not that enjoyable. No ad-libs, doesn't step out of the box with his flow, just bars. I know I'm going to catch flack for that, but if I got to pick Kanye's, Nas's catalog, you're going with Ye because the rhyming is way more enjoyable. Brandon Fisher says that Ransom album is top 10. It just got here late. No, Ransom didn't make the top 10. No, I know you got here a little late, but yeah, Ransom didn't make the top 10.
So don't get it twisted. I love Ransom. How about this? One of my favorite joints this year is with Ransom and Flea Lord. That's on my top 20 playlist. The joint Flea Lord did with Ransom. Mm-hmm. Go listen to the joint with Flea Lord and Ransom. Ransom destroyed that. It's one of the best verses this year, but it's not one of the 10 best albums.
Vlad Gray says this show is dope. Thanks for the love.
Let's address fam with like the Nas and Tim's things. Like, first of all, I'm from Charlotte and was raised in Atlanta. I'm from the west side of Charlotte, east side of Atlanta. I've never even really actually stepped foot in New York City or Queens.
Really?
Or Queensbridge. No. It's actually the only place that probably matters in the United States. I've never been to New York City. I've been everywhere else in this country.
Man, we got to go, man. I love New York, man. Beautiful city.
Everybody tells me that every time I tell them that. They're like, Koopy, you've never been to New York? I'm like, no, I don't know why. I keep waiting for the moment.
I mean, you just got to go, man. Oh, Vlad said this show is dope, by the way, man. Thanks for the love, too.
Appreciate you, fam.
Andre says, my homie thinks...
No. I want to go to the whole flow thing.
Okay.
Nas is 27 Summers. Go listen to 27 Summers. That's a 44-year-old rapper rapping like that on a Hit Boy beat. It's like, fam, like, what are you talking about? Like, this is what I'm saying. See, it's either like mad disrespectful or it's mad stand. And why can't y'all just like meet comfortably in the middle and understand that this guy is is if he's not your greatest MC of all time, he's always deserving to be in the conversation. And you need to treat him and carry him as such. Don't carry him like Mike be carrying T.I. and Andre around here repping ATL. Anyway.
Well, this is what I was going to say as far as like, I mean, when you get those GOAT titles, then it just comes with it, man. You know what I'm saying? You're either going to get supreme love or you're going to get supreme hate. Now, what I will say, I think that Nas's flow, when he's on his flow, is perfect. I don't think Nas has as much of a versatile flow as other guys.
He does. Hold on. How about this? He does it, Mike. But here's what I always submit to people. I don't know why he ever did anything different anyway. Because when he does what he does well, he's succinct. He is, Mike. When he does what he does well, he is succinctly better than anybody who ever lived, with the exception of these people I'm about to name. Listen to the people I'm about to name. It's a very short list, Mike. Rakim, Biggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, Black Thought, Andre, done. He's succinctly better than everybody else when he operates on his level, except for those guys. As an MC, why would you do?
I know
it's you. like the nerve of you rapping on those types of other beats anyway.
Because when he's in his pocket, he doesn't. We don't even think about him not being versatile. It's only when he tries to be versatile that we think about those things.
Mike, that's what I'm saying. He's the only people that put people onto it. We were totally oblivious, Mike, until he did that big things on I Am. We were totally oblivious.
Hated that, dog.
That's one of the worst records of his career.
You know, Benny the Butcher said that I Am is one of his top 5 favorite albums. I think it was like, you know, a personal thing for him because he said that's when he got into hip hop. But
he better. I'm about to say it better be a personal story behind it.
It was a personal story behind it. Andre says,
about this, I feel that way about Do or Die. Do or Die and Liquid Swords are personal to me. They're the first 2 albums I ever bought, and like the MC that I wanted to be was based off those 2 albums, and like all that. So like,
but those albums are great. A personal one for me is Blackout, Redman and Method Man, and another personal one for me is ELE. And I can't wait till next week when ELE 2 drops. ELE's personal for me, man. Busta blew my mind with that when I was a kid and I heard that album. I'm like, this nigga is really going crazy on every single song on this album. I don't think I ever heard anybody like just rap about nothing at the time and just be spitting the whole album.
Can I tell you something right now? Everything that you said is why I love hip hop so much, because for somebody like you whose opinion, whose thought process, and most of what you say, like Mike, even when we disagree, it's like I think you know that like I respect you and I respect your thoughts and respect your opinion.
Same. Thank you.
ELE is a blip on the radar to me. And to hear how excited, listen to me, to hear how excited you are because of how much you love ELE, you got me excited about ELE too, because I like it coming. But like you got me excited because you're excited. That's part of what it's about. It's that positive energy too. It's that transfer of that positive energy. It's like, hey, you know, such and such coming with it. You know, such and such coming with it. Mike, like you know, like you've been kicking on the show, but you've been back behind the scenes kicking it to me. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, you know what? It's like Mike got me kind of like, I'm waiting for Busta to drop now. And then it's like, and then you be making me feel bad. It's like, well, why am I checking for Busta?
We're going to go back down the list, too, because I know people who got in here late want to know what the top 10 was looking like. Andre said, my homie think Lulu is Griselda's best joint this year. I disagree. Yeah.
Lulu is probably the weakest project to come out of the camp this year, but Shoot Sideways and Calvin are classic records. Borderline classic.
Yep. Breathtaking. Boldy James. All right. Y'all mentioning some of the ones we already mentioned. So number 10, we had Who Made the Sunshine, Westside Gun. Number 9, we had Gunna with Wanna. Number 8, we had Black Thought's Stream of Thought, Volume 3.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel. Number 7, it was The Lox, Living Off Experience. Number 6, we had Boldy James, Price of Tea in China. Number 5, we had Royce da 5'9", The Allegory. Number 4, well, tied with number 3, I guess we would say. Tied with 4, 3, whatever, however you want to do it. We had Nas King's Disease and Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. So that brings us to number 2 with
From a king. Ah,
From a King to a God, Conway, the Machine, who didn't have as many features as Earl may have said.
right.
I
Earl
like
was
the
out there
features though,
capping.
but you know what? That's the thing. I loved the versatility in the features. I love the fact that Griselda stayed on brand on this. As you know, Benny's my favorite in the group, but Conway kind of just, I think Conway might be my favorite now, man. I hate to say it like that, but the way he put together this album, he was spitting when he was by himself too. The bars and the
I got
metaphors.
I got all types of flowers to give.
Go ahead.
Like, where you want me to start? Like, first of all,
Start from the top.
let's start. Let's talk about the MC that he is. Okay, so Conway does something that a lot of people have done before him, and lyrically, he might be the sharpest guy at it to do it. Conway speaks for the have-not. Okay, like when we talking about that grind, he's speaking for the people who don't have. So let me give you some guys who speak for the people who don't have. DMX, Scarface, Tupac, Prodigy, the guys that you feel, because you can tell that they're hurting. And whatever you're hurting about, if you're a have-not, you connect with. I connect with Conway because I was a have-not growing up. I have now, I was a have-not. Conway's who I connect to and gravitate to. Same way I gravitated towards Prodigy. Mm-hmm. It's like, I know Nas is better, but I'm playing Nighttime Vultures and Shook Ones just as much as I'm playing Illmatic because Prodigy is captivating because he's speaking to my have-not. He's speaking to that angst, that anger, that frustration, that anxiety. Conway speaks to those things, and he's an MC's MC to boot, Mike.
He is.
Like I told you, Mike, to on this album, like he's flipping off the balance beam. It's like, oh, is he gonna stick the landing when he get off? Like, and so I want to get into this right quick.
Go ahead.
This is gonna cover him as an MC. It's gonna cover the guest appearances. A lot of people think Lloyd Banks' appearance on Juvenile Hell is the best guest appearance on the album. When you're saying that, you're telling me that you're not totally into the craft of MCing and you're missing everything that's going on with Method Man's verse. And you're also missing the fact that Method Man had to pull out all his tools because that Conway verse is epic, you know.
Method Man's Method Man too. So he's fighting against a bigger legacy than Lloyd.
He's fighting against his legend, legacy, reputation every time he spits a bar verse. But Conway's verse on there is so epic. It's like, oh no, I don't think you understand how great Method Man had to be just to make that record great. Because Conway is stunningly great on that record, like stunningly great. Like fronted my homie a quarter joint, and he stopped answering. I don't know how to handle it. Flea talking about you don't handle it. It's gonna turn into cancer, and otherwise you can't let it slide. You gotta handle it. Like he's giving you the angst of what it's really like to be one of those guys. He's like, I've just fronted my guy some work who I've known since he was kids. We not picking up the phone. My other man is telling me that I'm gonna have to go ahead and handle this, and he's doing it in an artistic way, Mike. Like that's hard. Most of the guys are doing that in a brutal and a violent way. Like he's doing it in that way too, but he is actually like artistically into the craft of it, and like it's brilliant.
I was listening to, we were talking about the Benny, right, and the steroids, and his feature on there, Conway's feature. He said, Sean Carter mixed with Sean Price, and that's like, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I love Sean Price, by the way, man. That's that bully foot shit.
Love Price. So he, I know you love Price. He's better than Price, Mike.
I'll never admit that, but I see what you're saying.
No, he better than Price, Mike. Mike, you need to let that go.
I love Sean Price, man.
Mike, I'm having legitimate conversations with myself, like regularly. Every time I listen from the King's God, it's like, is he better than Prodigy? Is he better?
No, Conway's.
Is he really? Yeah,
Listen, man.
he
I
might be.
mean, I think after From a King to a God, man, I think
Hey,
he's
yes,
MC
right.
of the year
Prodigy never
right
put
now.
together a stunning piece of solo work like this. Like this is way better than HNIC, Mike, or Return of the Man. This is better than both of those projects, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Conway's the man, and hold on, and let me say this: George Bondo is the best rap record this year because it's what's keeping Pray for Paris ahead of From a King to a God, in my opinion. But my favorite rap record this year is the Jesus Crisis. Like that's the best rap song this year. Like you know what I'm saying? That's what I mean when I'm talking about. Like he's speaking for the have-nots. It's like
I know it was
rap.
earlier in the
He said,
year.
Mike, he rapping better than niggas. I can barely pronounce shit. Like he talking about the fact that he has cerebral palsy. Like he's like poking fun at the fact that people used to poke fun at him, and he's on top of his game. It's like, yeah, y'all looking at me like I look funny because of this bullet that hit me in my face. They got my jaw broke. I rap better than your favorite rapper. I can't even pronounce words properly. How you love that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's
That's what I'm saying. Like you got to even love the story.
Yeah.
But seeing the game right now as a guy whose voice and his whole stuff has been distorted. You guys can't out rap a guy that shouldn't even really be rapping. Like, stop that. Like,
yeah, because I know we were saying before, man, Killer Mike, was up there for MC of the year.
Conway took that off the page about halfway through this album.
I agree with you, but speaking of which, though, where does Run the Jewels 4? Where does that actually fit in 2020? And really, where does Run the Jewels really fit as a duo in hip hop in general? Because it's a strange dichotomy, you know?
It is a strange dichotomy. I hate that you made me question that some months ago because I had never asked what their place or what their space was till you made me question it. It's definitely one of those things about ignorance being bliss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, ignorance really is bliss. I never thought about their place in the space till you said something. And then it made me think more about the production of the style and where they do fit in. Mm-hmm. And I have to be honest, like outside of Ooh La La and Walking in the Snow, I don't love the album as much as I did when I first heard it.
Right.
It has a good action to it. It doesn't have good staying hours. I judge music on the staying power. I mean, and you notice, Mike, because we vacillate into other forms of music. Don't you love it when that old ass Stevie record or Prince or Michael Jackson record comes on that you can't say no to, or even that old rap record that you can't say no to?
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
I mean, and it's nothing like
there ain't none of that going
man.
on. What I just said. All right.
Earl Moore asks, "What younger artists do y'all like?" And I mean, so much music out there.
I like Lil Baby.
I guess Lil Baby counts as younger, right?
Under 25, isn't he? I mean, what's okay? So, like, first of all,
you know what? I think Jake Harlow is. You know, what I'm saying he got skills.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what's old or young in this game anymore?
I guess
I don't even.
Yeah, like what freshman cover would you be on XXL where you're not young anymore?
Yeah, like who's young to you? That's what I'm saying. It's like Young Thug's getting old to people. Like,
I mean, 21 Savage just turned 28 yesterday.
Savage is 28?
Yeah, Savage is 28.
Man, that's nuts, Mike. That's what I'm saying. What's young? Because it's like when I hear him and Metro Boomin on Running, it's like how about this, Mike? When I go out and I pull up in the whip, that's what the kids next to me gonna be playing. I mean, I be playing it too because it's my shit. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I guess all right. Does DaBaby count as a young artist? Because he was on the freshman cover in 19. Megan was on the freshman cover last year too. Is she a young artist?
Yeah, I guess you could say they're both. I mean, the way the game is now, I consider anybody under 30 to be young. That's what I'm saying. All these guys are young to me. I'm almost fucking 40. Like,
Blueface.
They all fucking young. Like, how old is Pam asking that question? It's very disrespectful.
Yeah, it said Jesus Christ is my favorite too. That's what Andre said.
Rap song here. George Bondo most important. He just spazzed out, Mike.
I like Corday too. I like Corday as well.
Is Joyner Lucas considered young? Like
Joyner Lucas is like 31. He's not young.
That's what I'm saying. All these dudes feel young to me. Mike Vince Staples is young to me. I was just talking about Surf and Turf for Boldioler. I was like, who are these young dudes?
But yeah, so yeah, man, I think Conway has really solidified himself as MC of the year at this point. I don't really see anybody coming out between now and December
taking. Not just that, Mike. best MC in the game.
Better than Kendrick Lamar.
No, because you've been following his catalog and he's been working for this, and he deserves this acknowledgement because he's been talking for years. He's like, I do not understand when people are talking about the best 5 MCs in the game. Well, my name is not being mentioned, and he has literally been saying this for years. And this was the first year that I sat there and was like, well, hold on. I'm like, how many guys are? Hold on. Like, oh, this is why he's mad. Oh, he's got a point. And then he delivered on the point. So
Kendrick Lamar is no longer the best MC in the game. It is Conway the Machine.
No, you know what, Mike? I've always been a legacy guy. I've been a legacy and respect and a reputation guy. But I'm also the type of guy that's kind of cold inside and believes that you should take what you want in this world. And Conway's out here taking it. He's making the music. He's making the verses. He's making the songs. He's got the crew. He's got the vision. He stays on message.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's frighteningly consistent on message. I don't care what you think about the message.
Yeah. And you know what? Whenever Kendrick Lamar...
I don't care what you think about the message. I mean, that's his mentality, and I love that that's his mentality.
And whenever Kendrick Lamar does decide to resurface, it's not going to be as easy.
What's that little shady little comment he made about the whole creative process and all that? It's like, hold on.
What did he say? I think I sent it to you.
Mike, to me. And the first thing that I was thinking when I said it, it's like, well, you kind of probably got here by being able to do something creatively at the drop of the dime.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's crazy to me. Like when people
don't go Lupe on us and start getting all super. Oh, well, I'm so into the creative. Shut up and rap. Like you rap. Like somebody need to go remind him that he raps for a living.
Exactly.
Like you don't pass any laws. You don't make any bills. Like know what your importance is. Your importance is your musical relevance to the culture. Stop overstating yourself.
It's amazing to me that when people get to a certain point, it's like, oh, I have to be inspired. You know what?
I have to be inspired, Mike. That's my problem with Andre. That whole I gotta be inspired stuff. It's like, well, nigga, you rap or you don't.
Or I have stage fright. Andre pulls that too. And it's like, well, did you have stage fright when y'all were out there trying to make it, huh?
You rap or you don't.
This is what Kendrick Lamar said.
Because you can't let rap take you to a certain point and be like, well, I don't know how viable or important rap is to me. It's like, oh, well, that's funny. You weren't saying that until it made you about $50 million, and it stopped being viable and important.
Right. Well, this is what Kendrick Lamar said. He said, I spent a whole year just thinking about how I'm going to execute a new sound.
That sounds like that $20, $30 million coming into play. I don't need to hear anymore.
And then he said, I can't do the same thing over and over. I need something to get me excited. Like I said,
for him, you want me to say it, Mike? You want me to say what I think about it?
Go ahead. What do you think about Kendrick Lamar talking about the creative process and how he just can't? I mean, it's 2020, and he hadn't dropped the album since 2017, and he just can't come up with,
Real creatives are going to look at you and say, miss me with that sucker shit, dude, and drop the product.
Yeah, man, I mean, it sounds like a cop-out to me.
No. Like, hold on. Because here's what I'm going to submit to you. You're in a position that most guys aren't in. You're not sitting up here scrambling for money. You don't got to sit up there and tour. You don't got to make these parties. You literally have time to sit the entirety of this time if you want and craft.
It's your job.
Hold on. Don't talk to me about how you're not feeling inspired to craft. Well, I'll tell you what, you're not feeling inspired to craft. Go pull up Breonna Taylor's case. Go watch George Floyd's neck get stepped on for 8 minutes and some odd seconds and tell me how inspired that you feel as a black man since you've been kicking this black righteous shit. That's how he sounds right now. So you need to understand how he sounds. You know what I'm saying?
It's
like, oh, you're not feeling inspired? I'm sorry if us being oppressed and murdered and brutalized and there being a whole pandemic and us having pick the poison of these two old ass men who neither one of them really deserve to be in office. I'm sorry if none of this is inspiring to your black ass. Fuck you talking about, nigga.
I was the one talking like this a month ago. I love it. You finally joined me.
I'm gonna call a spade, Mike. Like, what the fuck was that? Like I was upset because it's like, who you think you are?
Yeah. No, you know what? I was upset from.
What book in the Bible or Quran did he write again?
Right. Andre says that's weak. Jay says K-Dot's overrated. Vlad says, my man with the wine glass speaking facts about Kendrick. Yes, I mean, you
First,
know what?
I'm talking about my wine glass, fam. This is good Pinot Noir. One day when you graduate, I will show you how this is done. We'll pull up and have a couple cigars, sip on some of this shit.
You know what, man? I was offended when Top Dog was like, "Y'all don't deserve new Kendrick Lamar music." Huh? What? Are we with? No, he said.
Hey, first of all, like y'all run not even better than Death Row. So y'all not even the most important West Coast entity that was like ever even created. Next.
Nah, but it's like, listen, man, don't sit here and say that fans don't appreciate. I mean, he is where he is right now because fans do appreciate you.
Say that. Hold on. Top
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get the direct quote. I don't want to paraphrase nothing like that. And I was like, wait a minute now.
Where we at with it?
All right, we're at the number one spot. So number one, you got Pray for Paris. Speak on Pray for Paris while I find this real quick.
Pull up that top post though, but yeah, Pray for Paris is number one. We can get why if you pull up that top post though. I didn't know they was tripping like this.
Yeah, man. Hold on, it's Top Dogs.
Yeah, they bugging. This is rap. This is hip hop. This is like entertainment.
Man. No one is bigger than the craft, man. And that's what it's sounding like.
Mike, this is what I be talking. Mike, remember how I be telling you how behind the scenes it's like, yo, these two people walking around acting like they made Purple Rain or Thriller. It's like you're not even high up on the black echelon of things, like all the way back.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man.
The key of life, like none of Kendrick's albums is gonna resonate in 100 years the way Stevie Wonder or Prince or Michael Jackson material. Like, play your position, dude.
I mean, because at the end of the day, too, those guys was out there putting out in the 70s. Stevie put out like, what was it, about 8 albums in a decade? People weren't sitting here taking breaks like that.
Music, no, Mike. They had a goal of making timeless music, and then they went and made timeless music. They didn't sit back and say, "Oh, well, I have to be inspired." No, all the oppression and all the shit that they were seeing was inspiring enough. Life was inspiring enough for those guys. I'm sorry, life isn't inspiring enough for these guys who have much more money and access to resources to make better products and material. Like, I'm so sorry for these guys. Fuck out of here.
I'll tell you what, man. I think at the end of the day, I think that he's just not making music that he thinks is at the level of the music that he's made in the past. And I think all this other stuff is a smokescreen and a cop-out. And like we said before, it's not going to be as easy this time to jump in and be considered the best MC in the game because it's piling on. All the material people are putting out is piling on. Like 2017 was a long time ago now, man. He's going to have to reprove that he is that guy.
This is how quick the cipher changes. I was literally telling you, like, earlier this year, that it's like he doesn't need Dre just yet, and that would be a nice icing on the cake if he was trying to get some GOAT status to finish off his career, like to finish off his peak. But in a matter of about 4 or 5 months, Mike, isn't it kind of starting to feel like it's like, nah, fam, like we want to hear you and Dre now because it's like you. Like I told you, Mike, if this album isn't better than Damn, then some of the luster is going to be lost because I don't know what other people think. From a king to a god, Pray for Paris, King's Disease, and Alfredo are all better than Damn. They're all better than Damn.
You think King's Disease is better than Damn? I disagree.
Hold on. That was album of the year that it came out, so he needs to understand how quick things change too. That's why King's Disease is special if Nas fans want to stand. It's like, damn, look what this old ass dude do. You know how quick this stuff changes? Look how quick it's changing on Kendrick right now.
I tell you what, Daytona better than Damn too, to me.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You know.
Damn. Mike, I think Victory Lap, Astroworld, and Daytona are better than Damn. Don't you? Maybe not Astroworld. No.
I listen to Astroworld more than Damn, but I could see on a technical standpoint, Damn being, the better album.
Yeah, Astroworld's more fun, but Damn is a better record, artistically, crafted wise, lyrically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah. Let's talk about Pray for Paris, though. Because Pray for Paris.
I feel like I've been talking about Pray for Paris.
Exceptional record. And I think as early as it came out in the year, and with all the quality music that has come out since, it makes it sound even better.
That's why I wanted you to
Vlad
talk.
says that
I figured
you're
you were
gonna
gonna
enjoy
have that
this. Hold
feeling.
on,
I
hold
have
on.
that feeling. The more this year goes on, don't you appreciate this record more and how brilliant it is?
Oh, definitely. Vlad
Like
says George Bondo is Griselda's best posse record. What do you think about that?
You want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and play Brutus right now for him?
Brutus is number one for me, but I think George Bondo is a strong number two. It could go either way, but
I mean, okay, so the difference between Brutus and George Bondo is literally the fact that that beat on Brutus is more hypnotic than the George Bondo beat. Both of the beats are great. West Side is better on George Bondo, but Conley is just so berserk on Brutus.
I know, man. It's the machine. They act like they forgot. About to hit him with the fatal shot. Lee laying in a vacant lot, trying to take my break. He's just gonna take the shot. Yeah, Andre says no, Brutus. Vlad said, I love Brutus. Gun went crazy, but the beat for Bondo was so powerful, man. These guys deliver some fire. The production on Pray for Paris is crazy.
The George Bondo beat is very 1993.
Yeah.
In a way. You know?
Yeah.
It just is it's the subtlety and the beauty of the record, Mike. It's like how about this? From a King to a God, King's Disease and Alfredo are in your face records. There's something quiet and subtle and beautiful and artistic about Pray for Paris. Like, Mike, that intro is everything. Like, Mike, this is what I mean. Like, classics just don't have the music. They have the feel. They have the look. The feeling that I had when you sent me the cover and sent me the back. I was like, that looks great. I hadn't heard anything. I was like, that looks great. I'm like, what was he thinking? And so much that I thought of the cover that I went and researched the cover before the album even hit at midnight. And then I found out that Virgil actually did that artwork specifically for this cover. I'm like, ooh, I got excited, Mike. I'm like, he's putting it together. He's not in mixtape mode anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that album thought process. You're having your homeboy painter that you met at Fashion Week some years ago paint your album cover. Because when I saw it, I was like, is the little European Jesus homie wearing gold chains and platinum?
Yeah.
I was like, is that the West Side Gun pit? I was like, okay. And Mike, and then it comes in and he's staying on message. It's called Pray for Paris. It starts off with the auction for the painting, Mike. It goes into No Vacancy. No Vacancy, Mike. If you've ever been to Europe, there's a flow because everything is by a river. That's what I mean when I told you when he was making this album, he went to Paris because you can tell from the flow of the album, he's seen Paris, Mike.
Yeah.
Like I could from the flow of the album, I'm like, oh, he's so on message because if you haven't been to Paris, you probably wouldn't know how on message he is. Even on French Toast, when he's talking about Eiffel Tower in the evening, people don't go to the Eiffel Tower in the day, Mike. They go in the time. You know what I'm saying? So he was very intricate. The beat selection is flawless because everybody fits perfectly. The song sequence is flawless. There are epic records on there. It's just a beautiful record. Like I feel like From a King to a God has bigger highlights like Juvenile Hell, Jesus Crisis, but it just doesn't play as well. Mike, like No Vacancy is beautiful. Eurostep, 500-pound ounces. I can keep going. George Bondo. Like, I know the names of these songs already, Mike. Party with Pop Smoke. Mike, like, I know the names of this whole damn album, Mike. French Toast with Wale. Like, I know who's coming in on what. Something to rap. Like, this shit crazy.
Jay says, man, Pray for Paris is different. I had someone tell me the West Side Gun was trash. I'm like, what the hell are you smoking?
What they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, Mike, how serious it is with Pray for Paris. I told you, not only have I had to question whether it's better than Daytona or not, I think Daytona is the best rap I heard from 2015 to 2020. Okay?
I love Daytona.
That's how I feel about Daytona. You're not going to show me a rap album from 2015 in the last 5 years is better than Daytona. This is the only album that makes me question it.
I think, I'm going to be honest, and you know I'm a Pusha T guy, man.
You know how I feel.
I think that this album might actually be better than Daytona, and I love Daytona. I'm fixing my light right
Mike,
now.
I be
I
feeling
love
that way
Daytona.
some days. How about this? Daytona's better from a king to a god. Barely.
Man, I don't even know, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not hands down. I don't know.
How about this? I feel about Juvenile Hell and Jesus Christ is the way I feel about If You Know, You Know, and What Would We Do. So it's right there. But Push is just, man, he's just special on that album, Mike. He's just special. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like him in a zone. It's like he goes in his zone on that album and he gets out.
I love that album real. Because it's so in and out. And you know, when you start off
how about this, Mike? I don't know if any MC has been as brilliant as he's been on that album and been understating how brilliant he is.
Yeah.
Because he's usually in your face with it and hitting you with the hard flow, and he's just brilliant on there. It's just like, no, I rap my ass off. Matter of fact, I might be the best guy doing it, and here's why. And it's like, yeah. Like, when I listen to him rap on that album, I'm like, who can out-rap him?
I mean, when you start the album off with the, ran off on the plug too, like True Goy. Like, come on, man.
Mike, ran off on the plug too, like True.
You can never do what I do, boy. Still ducking shit that I did, boy. Niggas in Paris for hit, boy. These ain't the same type of hits, boy. Come on, man.
Yeah, Mike. I told you, Mike. Papa Willie, tell the judge to Akinelli, as in put it in your mouth. Middle fingers out the ghost, screaming in my belly. And then the ad-lib, Mike, in the back, the ad-lib, you hear him going, Hail Mary. Like, come on, dude. Come on. That's what I'm talking about those nuances and those details, Mike. When cats start ad-libbing the shit that's in the bar, like, that's that other level. That's that other level.
The Games We Play is probably my favorite song on there, but I don't know, man. Hard Piano's crazy, too.
Like, every record on there is crazy. Every time somebody tells me what their favorite record is on there, unless it's Infrared, I don't argue with them.
I love Infrared too, because I love when he was like, what is the bar, man? It's the Wayne bar. You know what I'm talking about.
Now it's okay to kill baby. Niggas looked at me crazy like I really killed the baby. Respect Ross. Yeah. The message was pure. You see what I see when you see Wayne on tour.
Flash without the fire. Another platinum rapper.
Another multi-platinum rapper trapped and can't retire.
Niggas get exposed. I see the cracks and I'm the liar. Shit, I've been exposed. I took the crack and built the wire. Now who do you admire? What?
It's all crying my patience. Them numbers ain't been right since inflation, as in Reaganomics.
Oh my, yeah, man. Pusha came through on Daytona. And the only knock is it is 7 songs.
It's so understated how brilliant he is as an MC on the album. It's one of the most understated MC performances ever, Mike.
I think the timing, there was a lot going on at the time that overshadowed him. I think that Whitney Houston album cover, which was disrespectful in my estimation, I think that kind of drowned out the brilliance of it.
I believe I docked him a half a point just because of the disrespectful nature of the cover, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I think that took away from the brilliance, too.
It did. And that's Kanye's fault, not Pusha's fault, too. All right.
And, Kanye was on that whole TMZ run at the time, too. So there was a lot of things taking away attention from that album.
Nobody wants to see a brick of Yayo and Newports from Whitney and Bobby's bathroom.
Yeah. And the Drake situation took away from Daytona, too. So there was a lot of things going on that I think, allowed Daytona to be overlooked in that sense, man. His verse on that Hard Piano was crazy, too. But
all the verses are crazy.
So, I don't know. Just thinking about that, man, it's hard for me to even say that Pray for Paris is better than Daytona, but I think it is. I think Pray for Paris is.
It might go down that way, but if it's going down that way, then it starts becoming a discussion. It's like, okay, where does it rank all time?
I think both of those albums should rank somewhere all time. I really do.
No, they deserve all time placement.
So yeah,
But
Pray for Paris definitely sounds different, and you
like,
can tell.
I don't want you to get it twisted because I know how you feel about Daytona. You think Daytona is better than Hell Hath No Fury, which means you think Pray for Paris might be better than Hell Hath No Fury. And I'm here to tell you now before you go thinking that you're totally wrong.
I don't know, man. Pray for Paris is different, man. It's and
Told you, Mike, Hell Hath No Fury is the best street album post the Purple Tape, and it's 2020, and I still am holding that today.
well,
2006. That was November 2006. They dropped Hell Hath No Fury. It's been 14 years, and it's still the best. Yeah.
all right. So number 10,
Paris.
number 10, we got West Side Gun, Who Made the Sunshine. West Side's on here twice. He could have been on here 3 times, legitimately. Number 9, we got Gunna with Wanna. Number 8, we got Black Thought with Volume 3, Streams of Thought Volume 3. And The Lox got number 7, We're Living Off of Experience. Number 6, we got Boldy James, The Price of Tea in China. Number 5, we got Royce the 5'9" with Allegory. Number 4, and well, you know what? Tied for number 3, we got King's Disease and Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. Number 2, we got Conway, From King to a God. And number 1, Pray for Paris. I don't know if anything's gonna change on that, but
Not judging from the way Kendrick is talking.
Kendrick's not coming. And you know what? And I'll put it this way, man. I believe even if Kendrick drops next week, it's not going to be album of the year. Because you know what? If you got album of the year in your pocket, it would have came out by now.
Hey, Mike, how about this? I think even if he drops this year, I think the best that he can hope for is slot number 5. That's how I'm feeling right now. Like those 4 albums that are at the top of our list, I don't think people understand. We're probably going to look back in 5 years and be like, no, those are all classics.
I think that Kendrick's probably going to wait until the coast is a little bit more clear next year and drop something.
I don't think you understand what's going on right now. There is no coast is clear. Conway's already back in the studio. So
Griselda's not stopping.
How about this, Mike? And it's funny. I don't follow a lot of rapper guys on Instagram. It's just not my thing. But I've been following the Griselda movement because I see the movement. He's one of the few guys I follow. The past 2 weeks, Conway been posting pictures of him in the studio. Like he didn't come to Benny's premiere party down here because he was,
they work.
He's worked that, so it's like
and you know what, Benny has to redeem himself too. So
I'm about to say, here's the fact that Benny's probably looking at something like, and it's like you said, it's not disrespectful, but it's like Method Man's comparing From a King to a God to a Purple Tape and Doggy Style, and Raekwon's just calling your shit solid. Don't tell me cats don't see. And Ray is the type of dude that he'll do you like that.
Yeah.
Like the general like that. No. Good job. Just good job.
Yeah.
Just good job.
And that's like, the thing that Kendrick.
Like, no. He need that.
Yeah.
Like, these guys need somebody like Ray. It's like, no, that was a good job. Like you didn't come purple tape it like we wanted you to. Good job. What's the next move, King?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, man, Kendrick, if he does wait until next year, he's probably going to have to deal with Benny coming back stronger because of this album.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Benny might come this year. I think we might get a Christmas album. I think Tampa Talk 4 might be the Christmas album. They're probably going to do something real funky with the cover for Christmas for him, too, now. Like, because I want you to understand something. Part of why I like these dudes is because I hear the competitive nature with which they do things. I told you, it's like Westside's been paying attention to these people saying he can't rap. His hook game's looking super strong right now. You know
what? Let's go back to Westside real quick before we close out. And, I know a lot of people are real critical about Westside. Westside's a genius, man.
His brother is the MC of the year, but he's the artist of the year.
Yeah, man. Westside is a genius. He pulls all this stuff together, and I think that's the beauty of Pray for Paris is the fact that it shows you how brilliant Westside Gunn is. And like you said, he pulls all this together. He's the executive producer of Conway's album. He's the executive producer of The Liz. And when he's not involved, like Benny's album.
So he executive produced 4 of the 12 best albums this year himself.
And when he's not involved, Benny drops what he drops.
I mean, don't get Benny's album. It's not It's just not what we want it to be. But like I said, there's stuff on there, and it really is. And Jay has a good point. It's like, no, he is rhyming his ass off on there. It's just the beats ain't carrying with it like it should. And it's not even necessarily total knock to Hit Boy. It sounds like he just don't have full battery charge. You've been giving a lot of work out to people. He gave Nas.
It's just not on brand, though. That's the thing. Like, Hit Boy is not in that crew, and we're so used to that crew. That's like Wu-Tang. Everything's being produced by RZA on that first chamber of solo albums, and Method Man drops an album produced by Trackmasters or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not on message, man. And that's what it is.
But Method did some work with the Trackmasters. He's on Il Nana. That's a Trackmasters produced track. He did the hook to that. So I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he can do it, but it ain't what it would be if it was RZA.
It's Method Man. First of all, Method Man can do what he wants.
He can do anything.
Because he can do anything. He's the Method Man. Hold on. So let's close this out right quick. I know we're talking about Conway and West Side, and they clearly got this shit on lock right now. Method Man on Lemon, I just want everybody to go listen to that verse. That's a class on MCing on what to do with timing, delivery, vocal inflection, metaphors, similes, cadence. That's what I mean. It's like that bar is a class, Mike. That's a class in rhyming and lyricism and bars. It's a class in everything. You have to know what it is to rhyme and rhyme great, to hear all the things that he's doing. He's pitching his voice differently at certain points of the song because he understands the instrument that his voice is and how him piercing it differently because of how his voice carries in different ways and angles on the track. Like when you hear that boom, 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 his voice carries different when he carries into it, but then he'll drop it back down low when that low creepy bass line comes in. That's genius, Mike. Lloyd Banks sounds great lyrically on Juvenile Hell. He's doing none of that on Juvenile Hell. He just went in and killed the verse. Meth killed the verse, delivery, nuance, vocal inflection, cadence. Understand the difference, everybody. Understand the difference between somebody that's just spitting a great verse and somebody that is really tearing the track down and deconstructing it. Even down to the alliteration. Capone and Noriega watching CNN. Black whips, black tints. Y'all ain't seeing it. It's kind of mess. Like you got to understand this shit all the way through and through.
All right, man. Well, next week, ELE2. I'm excited.
I say you got me excited about Busta.
And T.I.'s been ducking Busta.
Hey, Busta was on like every day showing how much weight he had lost today. Yeah.
Yeah. We posted that like in the AM or whatnot. It kind of went viral or whatnot.
I thought I saw it this morning. Like, sometimes it'd be so early. It'd be like, that's according to hip hop, but I don't be having my glasses on.
Yeah, stuff that we be supposed to be going viral and stuff. Yeah, man, shout out to him with that. I wanted to kind of talk about, how T.I. ducks him, but I don't want to say T.I.'s ducking him. T.I. saying that they're two different generations. And I think it's odd that he's trying to tell Busta to go with LL when technically, by T.I.'s estimation, they're in two different generations too. Because Busta didn't come out to 96, right? T.I. dropped in 2000. That's 4 years apart.
No. Is the Common 96? Is it that late?
The Common's 96.
Leaders of the new school was 89, 90 though, Mike.
He not going to play none of that shit. Let's be real. He not going to play any of that in the verses.
You're right. Hold on. But if we're going 96, if 96 is the Common, that would make Jay his contemporary, actually.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so that's 4 years because T.I. dropped in what, 2000? I'm serious, it was 2000.
It's fair. I get what you're saying.
But no, what I'm saying is he's gonna go with Jeezy though, and Jeezy didn't drop to 05. So based on his, his generational gaps, because he was like, if Busta plays something for 93, what am I gonna do? Like, Busta ain't got no solo songs for 93. Now the oldest Busta joint you're gonna get is probably Scenario. If that happens, then he's not even going to go there.
Like, you're getting the Scenario and the Flavor in Your Ear remix verses, though. You're getting those. That's 2 of the 20.
You could technically do that, but I don't think he's going to do that. Busta said, he pulled a Rick Ross. He said that, he said, I'll go against anybody. He said, "I'll go against anybody." He said, "I'll go against two artists."
The T.I. Jeezy battle is a more realistic and stylistic fight. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If Jeezy is playing stuff off Trap or Die and Trap and Die 2, Tip is in serious
I
trouble.
agree 100%. If Jeezy goes mixtape Jeezy,
if they're playing the album stuff, Tip's going to win. But if Trap or Die and Trap or Die 2 come into it, like Mike, I think Trap or Die and Trap or Die 2 might be better than anything Tip's made. And I consider Tip to be one of the 5 best MCs in the South. But for most of the time that I was down here, I rode to Jeezy more because I thought Jeezy's songs were more Atlanta and they were harder in terms of how they hit. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Trap or Die and Trap or Die 2, I mean, Mike,
it depends on the approach, man. And I think
like I feel a certain type of way, and there are a lot of guys down here who feel a certain type of way about those projects, and they and even when it comes to Tip and trap music, they feel a certain type of way.
Yeah. I think Jeezy can win this. Honestly, I think clearly Tip's the better rapper, has the better career, but yeah,
he's better at everything except for maybe hooks. But if those Trap or Die or Trap or Die 2 tracks are about to come out, Mike, that's a whole other problem.
Jeezy got the Jay-Z features too.
I can think of 8 tracks between Trap or Die and Trap or Die 2 right now that's about to give Tip some problems.
Yeah. All right. Well, we could talk about that next week. We'll see how things materialize. There's probably going to be a date for that. And I know Busta's calling people out probably in promotion for ELE too, and I love
it. How old is Busta? Busta older than Busta went to school with Jay and Big, so he's in the same mid-40s, right?
I think he's I think he's in his late 40s. I think that Jay's older than all of them.
Jay's older, but Big's younger, right?
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, next week, and I mean, we might see. Hopefully, somebody steps up to Busta on the verses. But you know how I feel. I don't think anybody could be Busta, and I told you that. I don't feel like anybody could be Busta in the verses, but
it's a frightening prospect because nobody's ever had a personality bigger than Busta's.
No one's had a career like his either.
I'm about to say, when you put the personality with the hit catalog, when I mean a hit catalog, I mean we ain't talking about hits. We talking about
of all eras.
Mike, I was watching Mike, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See came on YouTube the other day, like on my YouTube channel feed. And Mike, I saw it come on and I started looking for and then I put my head down and got to doing back what I was doing on my laptop. But it was like, I was like, he does that.
It's captivating.
He's great, Mike. He's dangerous that way because it's like you can't help but to watch him or listen to him. He's so interesting. Mysterious in the voice, the personality, the videos, the image.
Because you know how people, even in the verses, people are performing. He go out there on some hit you window delaying, so what you say, doing that shit live, you're done.
What I'm saying, you're done. If he does that's why I Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Like if he can hit you with that flow live, still like at his age, like you're. Like that's like being 3 tracks down, Mike.
Do you remember?
So nobody wants. How about this? Nobody wants to step to him because the only guys that really need to be stepping to him are the heavyweights, and he's one of those guys. He's such a knockout artist. He can put you on the floor. You should think about it.
The only people that need to go against him aren't gonna go against him. That's the thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So let's put the obvious out. Like Nas and Jay.
They're not going to come out there. The only person that will be a match for him is Snoop. And Snoop's already done it.
And you want to know what's crazy? Busta acknowledges that he thinks Nas is the greatest MC of all time. And he acknowledges he lost to Jay in the battle in high school. But in this versus battles, neither one of them wouldn't want no parts, really, Mike. No, would they?
Did you remember that clip? I think it was Brooklyn Bowl or whatnot, where Q-Tip was performing Scenario, and then this nigga Busta Rhymes just comes in out of nowhere and just going crazy on the Scenario verse. And
those verses came from him literally bum rushing people's studio sessions. The Flavor in Your Ear remix, he just bum rushed it.
Yeah, man.
They strong on those sessions. Busta's crazy, dude.
The fact that Busta's out here doing all this for press for ELE too lets me know that this album might be something. And he knows what ELE is.
Kind of like Nas did with King's Disease. It's like he's still impressed. Like
Yeah,
press fancy.
Busta don't usually do that.
That's what I'm saying. These Negroes are real fancy now, Mike. They were real fancy. They've been real fancy for a while now. You know what I thought, Mike? Here's how great he is.